Operation Locker, that's just one of the new maps that we've been shown off in this new Battlefield 4 trailer, and today we're going to be looking at some of the things that you might have missed in that trailer. So to start from the beginning and the title of this video, we're going to start with Operation Locker. Now some of you may have already made this connection, but if you haven't, Operation Locker is actually the snow map that was detailed in the Battlelog trailer, and the one that we got a glimpse of in this one too. If you look at the shot that's running in the screen right now, I'll freeze it there. That point in the middle, that circular structure, ties in with what we saw on the iPad in the Battlelog trailer. That's just popped up on the screen as well. They tie together. And obviously from that we can tell that Operation Locker is going to be a fully infantry map. It's an underground prison underneath the snowy mountains. Couple of things I wanted to add to that. You can actually see around the edge of this screenshot here, you can actually see sort of like frost or sort of ice particles starting to form around the goggles of the player, which is quite cool, which shows it's very cold down there. Obviously that's sort of something to do with the snow that's actually on top of them. And also you can see icicles that are hanging from the ceiling in that screenshot as well. This pretty much all ties in to confirm that Operation Locker is the snow map underneath those mountains. It looks like a really interesting map. I'm hoping it's not too linear. Judging by what we saw in the Battlelog video, we could see that all the flags were quite lined up. And now I'm hoping there are going to be some serious flanking routes, because otherwise we're just going to have another Operation Metro on our hands. Second thing that I wanted to point out that you may not have noticed, in this screenshot that's up on top of the screen now, you can see one of the new jets that's going to be included in the game, and that's the Chinese J-8 jet. And it's actually chasing down the Su-25 Russian jet in this shot, which sort of confirms that that's coming back from Battlefield 3. But it's really cool to see some of the jets that are coming over from the Chinese faction, because obviously it's been a long time since China were included in Battlefield series, and it's good to see them coming back and seeing what new aircraft we're going to be able to use. Sticking with the jets on this one, something that you may not have noticed simply because this bit of footage went past so quickly, it looks like we're having the return of sort of dumb bombs for the jets. Now this is something that hasn't been included since Battlefield 2 in the series, and something that guys really wanted in Battlefield 3. It requires a little bit more skill to use, because obviously you're simply dropping them out the bottom of your aircraft, but can do absolutely devastating damage. You can see I've sort of put the two clips together. I sort of cut them together from the video because there was actually sort of some footage in between. But you can actually see there them dropping the bombs and it exploding, and then on the other side you can also see the jet coming across and it exploding as the jet goes past. So they kind of tie together. I'm not exactly sure if there will be bombs, but it does suggest, just by that object coming down and then blowing up the ground, it does indeed suggest that we are going to be seeing jets with bombs in Battlefield 4. Moving on to my next point, something that wasn't directly mentioned in the video but was obviously featured in the footage was a third map called Arecibo Observatory. Now I'm not sure if it's actually called that, but it's obviously modelled off of that radar dish. You might recognise it from a James Bond film. It was in GoldenEye. That was a brilliant film, by the way. But in the film, it sort of portrayed the sort of massive radar dish to be sort of solid, whereas in this one it's sort of portrayed as having some like sort of hollow jungle underneath, and it looks as if you can actually take out the panels above you as well. But more what I'm focusing on with this map is the levolution aspect. Now a lot of people have already said, well, you can just destroy the dish and then everybody can fall down into the jungle below. I happen to think that it's actually the metal structure that's above the dish that you can see in this shot here falling down through the dish, which will actually be the levolution and cause the whole dish to collapse. And just that map being in the trailer got me extremely excited, because of course I tallied 1 and 1 together and made 2. That means if the Arecibo Observatory is actually in it, it's set in the middle of a jungle, which means we're most likely going to be seeing some jungle maps in the base game of Battlefield 4, not just the China Rising expansion. So it looks as if we could be seeing jungle warfare returning to the Battlefield series. If we could, I'd just like to jump back to Operation Locker for my final point, because I've just noticed this in watching the video through again. After he fires his sniper rifle there, I think it's the intervention, you can actually see some sort of smoke trail that follows the bullet out of the gun. Now this could be one of two things. It could be some sort of tracer round that you're able to equip your weapon with. However, I think that's very unlikely, considering the game's nearly finished in development now. We probably would have seen it beforehand. Or it's more than likely going to be some sort of steam trail or smoke trail on that bullet, simply because the bullet is so hot in comparison to its surroundings. Because don't forget, Operation Locker is set high up in the mountains underground, so it's going to be extremely cold there, and it ties in with the icicles that we saw earlier. And that's about it. Those are the things that I managed to find that some other people may not have seen. It took me about 4 or 5 watches of the video to actually pick out all of those things, so it took me a little bit of time, some things that you probably wouldn't have seen either. And that's it for the video as well, guys, so thank you for watching. Likes and comments are always appreciated, but until next time, my name is Westy, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.